All right. Listen, man, check it out, everybody. We are live. We are back on the Social Experiment YouTube show. I got my man, Mr. Terrell Woodard, with me today. He was referred to me by Mr. Brian Atterbury. For anybody who watched last night, Mr. Atterbury came on and he shared some information with us, and he kind of gave us some. He dropped some gems on us, man. Like the conversation was good. I was appreciating everything he was saying. He actually blew my mind. He caught me off guard with some of the things he had to say, some of the things he had to offer. You know what I mean? Just different things. So it was just great to have a conversation. And when I asked him about some other people who might possibly be good to come on here, he automatically real. You know, he's doing some things. You know, he's definitely somebody who will be a good person to have, good person to be talking. So I figured I'd invite him, get him on here, and we just gonna go from here. I looked him up a little bit, looked on LinkedIn, seen he's been working at Erie Insurance. He's also doing some speaking, some public speaking for himself. So you'll kind of tap in and just had a conversation with him. So first and foremost, sir, I want to thank you for your time. I appreciate you coming on the show. Appreciate you being a guest. And every person that I have on here, the first question that I ask them is, what made you accept the invitation? What made you want to be interested in coming on this show and having this conversation with me?
Hey, it's a pleasure being here. First of all, thank you for inviting me. But it's the trust of the people that I'm around. Like I trust their decision making and their references. So when me and Brian was hanging out, he told me about you, and he said, "Yeah, I'm about to text him right now and let him know that you want to be on the show. Do you want to be on it?" Immediately, oh yes,
Okay.
immediately, yes. Hit him up,
Okay.
and he hit you up. You hit me up at that same time. Hey, when can you be available? I'm available anytime after 3, anytime on the weekend. So it was that simple.
Okay. Okay. I appreciate it, man. And we was kind of talking a little bit, just kind of asking you some questions, get some information from you, just to seeing like, have you seen the show? You know what I mean? And what have you heard about the show and different things? So you kind of got a glimpse of some of the things that we talk about. But like I said, we run these. I run these. Been going for some time now. So I'm gonna ask you, like, right in, just hopping right in. Who is Terrell Woodard? Like, what is it? Why did Brian feel like you were somebody who needs to be on this show?
Okay, first of all, I've known Brian since the 3rd grade.
Okay.
Like he's like my brother from a different mother. So and we connect and been through so much together. We grow together, and he do his thing and I do my thing. But the thing about both of us is we grow. You know
Okay.
what I mean? We both on this expansion path because staying the same is I don't want to say it's not good,
Right.
but staying the same is not good. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
So one of the main things that me and Brian do have in common is that we do expand.
Okay.
So kudos to Brian on that. But as far as Terrell
Right.
is concerned, Terrell, first of all, I want to say this before I even get into Terrell. I want to say one thing about me, and I always say this to everybody. I joke around,
Hmm.
but I'm a professional
Okay. Okay.
because I believe it's good to have fun
Uh-huh.
and be professional at the same time.
Okay.
With me, it makes me more creative. So as far as me, I always had this sense of humor. It's embedded in my personality. I cannot help it. All my coworkers know it. Everybody around me know it. My family know it. My friends. Sometimes it may get a little bit irritating, but it's just who I am. It's that child in me, that innocence. You
Why
know
is
what I
that
mean?
important to you?
Why is it important to me?
Mhm.
Because it helps me be creative. It helps me be creative. I cannot be serious 100% of the time and be creative. It's
Okay.
just not who I am as a person. You know what I mean? I need to have fun. I need to joke around. I need to have leisure time. I need to just let it go. And that's how my creative process works.
Okay. All right.
So that's me.
Okay. All right. So then, when you talk about being creative in your creative process, what are you creating? What do you have going on as far as what I mean, the creativity and working and stuff like that? Like, tell us a little bit about first of all what you do, and then I'm gonna get a little conversation about your background story.
Sure. I believe that you can have different talents. I don't believe that should have something that defines you and you focus on that one thing.
Okay.
You can have different talents. It's okay to have different talents, and I have different talents.
Okay.
So some of the talents I have is music.
All right.
So I started off music in music school playing the trumpet. I had a violin. Did the drums, and I did all those different things. So this is when I was young, and they still had them in public schools. They don't
Okay.
have them no more.
Okay. Right.
But when they
Right.
had them in public schools, that's how I started off. So that was one of the things that I create, and I brought it into hip hop.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I brought that element to hip hop because I was born like a lot of people into hip hop.
Right.
When I first heard it, I fell in love with it, just like the majority of the people who first heard it,
Right.
because it was something so different, something so raw. It was different than the Pointer Sisters my mother was playing, and some of the jazz music like Kenny G that my father was playing. It was
Okay.
just so different that it was like, what the heck is this?
Right. Right.
So I took that and I started doing my own hip hop at 9 years old.
Okay.
Before I even knew anything about it. It was just something that hit me so hard, and I still do it to this day. And what's so funny about that is when I got into public speaking, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But when I got into that, I said, you know what? I should stop making music. I was with my friends telling them, you know what? I ain't making no more music. They was like, are you kidding me? Like, no, make at least one more album.
Okay.
Because I make albums.
Okay.
Make one more album. I was like, all right, I'll make one more album. And then I turned out to still because I haven't made music in like years prior to that.
Right.
And then I made that album, and I'm like, the bug just hit me, and now I just keep going. Like, oh, you know what? I can have two talents at once.
Right.
I can have three talents. I don't have to shut down a talent just because I'm opening up another talent.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, so I do the music. I do the public speaking.
Okay.
I started off with sports though.
Okay.
So I started off with sports. So I started off with baseball, and I went up to T-ball, B-ball, 1B, 2B.
Okay.
I was going to 3B. Then I was like, Mom, you know what? I don't want to play. I don't want to play baseball no more.
Okay.
This is more into basketball.
Okay.
And then that just threw me a whole loop. You know what I mean? So I thought I was very good at basketball, but I don't think the coaches did. Let me tell you why. So I think it was planned. Sometimes I think things aren't meant for you.
Uh-huh.
So the very first time I played basketball, like scheduled basketball, was in the 6th grade.
Okay.
So I'm playing basketball, and we're playing in the gym. I went to Gridley.
Okay.
And as we're playing, they call me in the game. I get in the game. I score like 9 points in 45 seconds.
Uh-huh.
Like I probably still got the record. They won't tell you this, but I probably still got the record.
Okay.
So I scored like 9 points in 45 seconds. Everybody is going crazy. The parents, the children, everything. The coach calls a timeout, take me out the game, and says, Terrell, you're too hot.
The coach took you out the game?
Yeah, he says, Terrell, you're too hot. I got to take you out the game.
Okay.
Never put me back in the game. And that's kind of, that sums up my whole basketball.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because it's been like that everywhere. So I thought to myself, you know what? It's not meant for me to play basketball.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So sometimes, you got a passion, you love to do it. Sometimes it's not meant for you to do it. You do it as a hobby.
Right.
You know? So as far as like my creative thing, yeah, music right now is music. It's writing, because I haven't told nobody this, but hey, we're on this book. I'm in the process of writing a book because I love writing.
That's what's up. What type of book are we talking about here?
So it's definitely going to be an inspirational book.
Okay.
I don't know really. I got to be honest with you, I've been writing for so long. I could just put it together and probably give it to someone and say, okay, make this into a book.
Right. Okay.
So I'm constantly writing. I do poetry, and I do the music. So those are my main things of creativity. 4 main things of creativity.
Wow.
Did I say 4? Yeah, 4 main things.
So when you talk about, like, I'm gonna hop to the public speaking. Like, it's crazy. It's like, I want to say, like, maybe the last 4 or 5 guests. Like, we have we have Brian Atterbury, we had Daryl Cook, we had Corey Cook, and then we have Patrick Lyons, and everybody like talks about music and everybody being involved with music and how some of the things that music has done for them. It's very interesting to see like a lot of people in our time frame, our generation, like being involved in music. And then I heard you say something about your mother and your father, and then being involved in sports and stuff like that. So what was like growing up? What was life like for you? You know what I mean? What was the family situation like? What was the household like, and how did you get the exposure to some of these things growing up as a young man?
Well, I got to give kudos to both my mother and my father because they instilled something in me and my brothers. I
Okay.
got 3 siblings.
Okay.
And one of the things that they instilled in us is to get out of the house.
Right.
Get out of the house. Get out of your environment. Get out. We were always traveling. So I was able to see different things at a very young age
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of people who may not have seen.
Right.
Because we used to always travel to Mississippi, we used to travel to New York City, we used to just travel when we just because we had what is called a Mark III van.
Okay. I know.
So it was
Yeah.
with the
The
it had
conversion van.
yeah, and this was like in the 80s. It had a it was like one of the first vans with it, first cars with a TV, had a black and white TV that
Uh-huh.
barely even played, and then the back seat turned into a bed. So we would always go like different places, and as we're going to different places, my dad always had music in the car, so
Okay.
he never went anywhere or went anywhere with us without playing music. So that is one of the things that's instilled in me, and to this day, I always try to go different places. So I did not have a bad childhood.
Okay.
My childhood was good. I was free. I was free minded. I was basically able to do whatever I wanted to as long as I didn't get in trouble
Right.
and bring a bad name to my parents.
So then let me ask you that when you talk about that, you talk about the travel and then having that foundation and that exposure, like how important do you think that was for you, like growing up? How important do you think how important do you think that is for like the younger generation right now that we have in front of us? Like how important do you think it is for us as parents, as community leaders and community members to just expose people to different things and new things?
See, it's the mindset. So if you have a mindset of not expanding, which we talked about before the show, it's
Mm-hmm.
all to me, it's all about expanding your environment, expanding your surroundings, and expanding other people too. You know what I mean? Because I'll say like this. Erie has a different mentality than a lot of places that I've been to. I'm not saying it's positive or negative.
Right.
It's just different.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's just a different mentality.
Right.
And I think in order for a lot of us to break that mentality, we got to get out. We
Right.
have to get out. We have to see other people. We have to see other cultures. We got to see how other people do things, how other people think, how other people act, how other people conversate with each
Mm-hmm.
other. You know what I mean? Because if you just standing there and communicating one way and being one way and doing all that, you won't be able to expand
All you
yourself. You
know.
gotta you gotta expand yourself. Go to Buffalo. It's only an hour and 15 minutes away. Go to Cleveland. Go to Pittsburgh. Go to Columbus, Ohio. Go to
Uh,
Detroit. I've been to all of those places, and everywhere I go, I get nothing but love. Everywhere I go, I get nothing but love.
okay. All right.
Not saying that I don't get it here because I get it here too.
Right. Right.
I'm just saying I expanded my horizons and my mentality by doing that. So when I go to those places, I bring that back here and
Right.
I share it with
Okay.
everyone that's around me.
So why is that important to you as far as like as an adult man? Why is it important for you today as an adult man to make sure that you're getting out away from this place and going to other different places, like outside of just seeing different things, like for you, maybe mentally or maybe even for some of the work that you do.
It's refreshing. I mean, even if you lived in Atlanta, if you live in Atlanta
Mm-hmm.
for your whole life and you came to Erie, you will be blown away.
Right.
I know people who come to Erie and from these big cities with 1 million people come to Erie and they love it. They love Erie. It's about it's not just an Erie thing, it's everywhere. Like if you live somewhere and you've been there for a long time, you should get out of that place for a while. Take 2 weeks, take a vacation, and
Right.
come back because the main thing you're going to get from that is
Right.
a refresher of your thoughts and a refresher of your mind. So yeah.
Okay. So then take me to the public speaking because that's something I'm getting myself involved in. I've been doing some training, listening to myself and reading different books and listening. So like how did you get into public speaking and like what does that do for you? Like when you say public speaking, like what does that entail for you?
So I'll talk about how I got into it. One day I was sitting at my desk at work and I was thinking to myself, I felt like this internal thing in me that said, I got to be more than this.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm happy, but I'm not truly happy.
Okay.
And then my thought process from that point was, what do you want to do? Why do you want to do it?
Right.
How do you want to do it?
Right.
I'm questioning myself to try to get to an ending point. So one of the answers that I came up with was, I want to share my perspective with people. I want to share my perspective. I feel like I have a unique perspective and can give a different angle on certain things. So I want to share that with people. How? How do you want to share that, people? Public speaking.
Right. Right. And you just
Public
literally
speaking.
just jumped out there?
No. So once I said public speaking, I was looking up information, and then as I was looking up the information, I would say I looked into it about 3 months,
Okay.
and I couldn't find anything. How do I get into public speaking, this and that? And I couldn't find nothing. So I let it go.
Mhm.
I let it go. So there was this one opportunity where I had to speak with someone and conversate with someone. And I took it, and I was conversating with them. And this is how synchronicity works.
Mhm.
I was conversating with them, and this person said, you know what? There's this organization coming here where I work at Erie Insurance tomorrow.
Right.
He didn't tell me what it was. He didn't tell me nothing about it. He said, I think you would like it, and I think you would be good at it.
Okay.
So I said, okay, just like with Brian. Okay, I don't need to know nothing else. I trust you.
Right.
So I went there the next day. It was at 12 o'clock, and this place was called Toastmasters International.
Toastmasters International.
Yes, Toastmasters International. So what Toastmasters International is, it's a public speaking organization that also helps you with leadership skills as well.
Okay.
So when I went there, it blew my mind because it was dealing with public speaking, something that I wanted to get. I dang near hugged him like, how did you know? How did you know I was even thinking?
Right.
So that's how I got into public speaking.
Okay.
I went there. I was the second one to do a speech, because it was the initial stage of them coming to Erie Insurance.
Mhm.
So I went there, and it just blew my mind. And then I was the second one to ever do a speech there. It was the first speech I've ever did. I never did a speech before that, never practiced, nothing. It was the first time I did it. And you talk about fear, because I'm an introvert.
Okay.
I know it's hard for people to believe, but there's a part of me that's an introvert. You know what I mean? Like a real hardcore introvert. I could be a hermit,
right?
if I wanted to.
I think we all got that in us.
I can live in the woods all by myself and still have a good life.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I got that. But the thing about it is, I knew that I was scared to do it. Like, I knew that I was really afraid to do it, and that made me want to do it even more.
Like, do it scared.
Yeah, because I wanted to expand myself.
Right.
You know what I mean? I wanted to expand myself. I wanted to get out of my comfort zone. So that's how I got into speaking, basically, is through Toastmasters.
Okay. So then you start to speak, and you do your one speech over at Erie Insurance. Then, like, how did the ball get to rolling? Like, or if the ball did get to rolling? Because, like I said, I just looked up on LinkedIn. So how did that progress for you?
So it progressed great. I'm gonna be honest. Most of my speaking I do is at Erie Insurance now, but I do have other speaking arrangements outside. I had a few, probably like 10 or so, maybe.
Yeah, Brian said he was the speaker at the Juneteenth for Erie this year.
Yeah. So me and Brian was talking about that. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do a speech. You know what I mean? Even though, and that was crazy, because even though a lot of people there did not come to see a speech. Usually people don't come there to see like public speakers or stuff.
Right.
I still was like, I don't care. I did get scared though until Friday. I don't think I wanted to.
Wow. Well, now let me ask you, when it comes to that, like, how did you get scared, or what's the why do you feel like you had moments where it's difficult for you, or at the beginning, I should say, anyway?
Comfort, being comfort. I think we all have this thing where we want to be comfort, and for me, it's like I say, I'm an introvert, so it's always there. Even before I came here, I'm like, do I really want to do this? You see what I mean? It's always a fight with me, with that inner voice that's telling me, do you really want to do this? Do you really want to do that? Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to do that? Because I would rather be home playing video games. But what is that going to get me? How is that? How am I going to change anything by sitting home playing video games all day? You know what I mean?
Right.
Then going to work, collecting paycheck, go home. That's a status quo I can't live by no more.
What encouraged you to challenge that? Is it simply just stepping out of your comfort zone? Like, what makes you challenge the fact that, you know, I got to do this anyway, even though I don't want to?
It's just something inside.
Okay.
Something inside. I can't explain it.
Okay.
It's unexplainable. It's just something that happened to me personally that said, I want to be more. I want to do more. I can't do this and be like this.
Right.
And I think it goes back to traveling.
Right.
Expanding.
Right.
It's like, you know, staying in one place and being there, that's not for me.
Right. It sounds to me like you got a growth mindset too. I'm not sure. Like, you sound like you read some books, you know what I mean? But I read the book called The Psychology of Success, you know, by Carol Dweck, and you talk about the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset. And some people have fixed mindsets and they stay in certain places in certain ways. And a lot of us, we keep ourselves stuck in situations because we're not challenging ourselves. We're not pushing ourselves. And it sounds to me like you definitely have no problem challenging and pushing yourself. So, like, with that being said, I feel like that had to come from somewhere. And we do a lot of the conversating about like building men and things like that. So I want to know, like, what type of man was your father, like, for you growing up? And then what other men around you in your life played a role in kind of like the development of you as an adult man?
My father, the thing about my father, I would say both of my parents, but specifically my father let us live life our own way.
Okay.
He only had one basic rule. Do not mess up the Woodard name.
Okay.
Basically, do not do anything that will make you go to jail, that will get you in trouble, that will cause any harm to anyone. Other than that, you can find your own way in life.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And that's why I am the way that I am. Like, the growth mindset, I mean, it comes from other people and people around me, but it comes from me because it's what I wanted to do.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's something that's in me that I wanted to do this because I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
It was really no other reason.
Right.
I just don't want to be doing what I'm doing now.
Right.
And the first thing that I did was take action, because a lot of us will say we want to do something, but we won't do anything. We'll
Right.
just say, you know, we'll think it or we'll tell other people, and then we'll just go back and sit down. I used to do that too.
Uh-huh.
I did that a lot for a lot of years. And then one day I said, no, I'm not sitting down no more. I'm taking action. I'm pushing through this fear. I'm pushing through whatever it is that comes to me, doubt, whatever. I'm pushing through that.
Right.
And I'm about to be what I want to be, whatever that is.
Okay. So then, even like outside of that, like, when as you doing some of these things, you talked about Gridley a little bit, but then like going through middle school and going through high school, like what was that like for you? What were some of the challenges that you faced? Because from the way that you talk and the way that you're saying, like, it sounds to me like you were doing things that weren't that popular to everybody else, as far as like wanting to build, wanting to grow, playing music and stuff like that. So what was high school like for you?
Like I said, I was an introvert.
Okay.
I didn't have too many friends. I found school boring, to be honest with you. I really didn't put as much effort as I should have in school, and it's all my fault.
Mm-hmm.
But I did not like school. I did not like being around people. I didn't like the whole thing about school. I didn't like it. So it wasn't that I was not doing anything bad.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't live up to my potential in school until later on in college.
Okay. And then what college are we talking here? I seen Barron. You went to Barron?
I went to Edinburgh.
Edinburgh. Maybe I mixed up okay. So Edinburgh, you went to Edinburgh. What did you study? What did you take up at Edinburgh?
So I started off at engineering. That was bad.
That was bad. Why was that bad?
It was bad because it was too time consuming for my young mind.
Okay.
So I was 18, and like I say, I wasn't really putting all the effort that I should have been in school. So now I'm taking that. I'm going to college. You know, I got enough to get invited to some colleges and accepted. Then I got accepted to a college, and then I go right into engineering. Engineering has like all 4 credit classes. That means you're going to school from 8 to 4
right, in college
every day.
Yeah,
Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
While everybody else got 2 classes on Monday, 3 classes on Wednesday. Everybody having fun, and I got to go study. And on top of that, I was also trying out for the basketball team too.
Okay.
Because we have intramurals. And I was doing so good in intramurals that someone said, you know what, you should try out for the team. So I would go to school from 8 to 4, and then I would go to basketball practice.
Oh,
so
man.
that in basketball practice was like 2-3 hours.
Uh-huh.
So I'm gonna get back to my dorm room till like 8 or 9. leaves me no study time or
Right.
anything. So I was like, no engineering from me. It was a 5-year course, 3 years at Edinburgh, 2 years at Pitt.
Okay. So then did you switch majors or did you just know schools?
Yeah, I switched majors. I went general and then once I found out what I wanted to do, I did communications. So
Okay.
communications is this.
Right.
I
right.
did radio TV production.
Okay. All right. So then you get the Erie Insurance, and I had somebody and they were talking about Erie Insurance the other day as far as like so many, not on the show, but I was talking to somebody about Erie Insurance, and it's just like they're saying it's a multitude of different things that you can do, and I don't know if you can speak on it or not. But as far as like, what is your job title and what does your job entail over at Erie Insurance?
So my job title is I'm a senior quality analyst 2.
Okay.
So basically, to say without saying it, what we do is we do quality control.
Okay.
So I'm gonna just leave it at
that.
Right.
So then, like, even that, like, because outside of that, it seems like I've always, as younger, growing up, living in Erie, it's always been like, oh man, Erie Insurance, I want to get a job in there. You know what I mean? I've been privileged to work there, and I got friends who work at Erie Insurance. My mother works at Erie Insurance, so regardless of the job title, it definitely seems like it comes with a lot of different opportunities. So I mean, and it's good that you do have a full-time job and you're working for a Fortune 500 company. But then outside of that, like, what made you want to figure out, I guess, how to make money for yourself or just figure out a different way of living? Like, why is the entrepreneurial spirit in you?
The entrepreneur spirit has always been in me. The reason why I started working for Erie Insurance is because my business didn't work. So when I got out of college, I started to look for all of these different business ventures for like 2 years.
Okay.
I was still living at home with my parents. And after like 2 years, it finally was like, I got to get a job. Right. I have to. Like, this is not working. I'm not bringing in any money, any income. Mm-hmm. I'm borrowing money from my mother, going to all of these different business ventures, and none of them is working.
Right.
So I'm like, I got to start making some money. So I was caught the bus downtown and seen Erie Insurance building. This was like in 2001, 2002.
You've been there that long?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is like 2001, 2002. Okay. I know I'm older than that. So I don't believe in age. But anyways, we were talking. Yeah. So so I'm riding by the building, and I see this building, and I'm like, I don't know what that place is, but I want to work there.
Okay.
And a year and a half later, I was there.
Okay. All right. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So then you go to work after those 2 years. So then did you just throw in a towel on it, or were you like recreating, reinventing? Like, how did you get back into trying to do things for yourself, if you did?
I've always did things for myself, but I always did it from a hobby perspective, a passion perspective, not from a monetarily perspective. You know what I mean? Because in my mind, I'm saying I'm getting a check. It goes back to that comfort. I'm getting a check. I'm comfortable. I don't really need to look at anything else, but I'm gonna still do these other talents that I have on the side because I love to do them. It's not now if money come from them, it comes. Right. But my main thing is not to go for the money for these passions. You know what I mean? Because for me, money is more than just money. It's currency.
Exactly.
Freedom is also money. Right. Your mind state is also money. Your health is also money. Right. Money just doesn't mean just the green things that you get. Absolutely. And the stuff that you get with the cars and stuff. Absolutely. It's more than just that when it comes to money. If you have a passion and a hobby and you love doing that, that's money. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Especially when you look at it like as far as when you exchange your services, I tell people all the time, sometimes the relationship currency is a lot better than the green currency, the paper money and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's good to hear different people think like that and have those type of mindsets to where, you understand that there are times where, you just do something from the heart, do something because you love it, do it. And then even like, it's very self-satisfying. It's very self-soothing. And then like another topic that I talk about, and I'm glad that you have hobbies, is because I ask everybody, like, what's their take on mental health? How do you adjust your mental health? And like, even the subject of, because I know like us as Black people growing up, it wasn't talked about too much. And then now they're making a lot of noise about mental health. And I'm a huge advocate for mental health. Like I tell people, I see a therapist on a weekly basis. I got my coping skills. I do my exercising now. And, they have me doing puzzles at one point in time or another. So I definitely try to make sure that I'm on the up and up. So I want to ask you, like, what's your take on mental health and like, how do you practice good mental health?
That's an easy one.
Oh, I don't think I get that too often. Let's hear what you got when you say that's an easy one.
That's an easy one for me. This mic is my therapist.
Okay.
Whenever I got a mic in front of me, it's my therapist. When I speak, it listens.
Okay.
So every time I'm feeling some type of way, I will make music. Music is my therapy. I don't care if people listen to my music. It's not about that for me when it comes to making music.
Okay.
It's not about, oh, I can't wait till everybody hear this track. This track gonna be the no.
Right.
It's like, okay, you know what? I'm feeling this way. I gotta put this to the music. I put it to the music, take 2 hours. It's just like talking 2 hours. I talk to the mic, I do my thing on the keyboard, whatever, on the beat machine, 2 hours, and then I feel relieved afterwards. That has been helping me for almost all my existence.
Okay.
And that keeps my mental sane.
Okay. So then when you say, like, when it comes to music and the production, and Tori in the comments, he said put on the track. But when it comes to you in the production of music, like when you producing this music, like what all are you doing? Like, are you making beats, you singing, you rapping? You say you talked about some of the different instruments that you play, and now you're talking about going in front of the microphone. So now I want to know, like, what type of music what are you doing when it comes to the music? Are you doing from A to Z everything, and then like boom, I'm dropping this? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, from A to Z. I'll start by listening to sounds.
Okay.
So I start from the sounds. And if I'll go through, let's say 100 sounds.
Okay.
And let's say I like 3 of them.
Right.
So these 3 sounds have to hit me at that point, because different sounds will hit me at different times, depending on what type of mood I'm in. So I can hear a sound like 100 times, that same sound, and then on Tuesday it hit me.
Right.
I'll be like, okay, you know what? I'm using this.
Right.
So I'll do that. Like I'll go through sounds repeatedly, and then I'll put those sounds together, and I'll make, like, let's say 15 sounds. I put all 15 sounds together and make a beat out of those 15 sounds.
Okay.
Now, as I'm listening to the sounds, I'm listening to the rhythm, listening to that. It's like a heartbeat. Boom, 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 boom,
right.
boom, 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 boom.
Right.
That's how I'm listening. I'm really making music from my heart. I'm not trained. I'm not a trained musician. I'm a heart musician.
Okay.
So I'm making the music from my heart, whatever I'm feeling at that moment.
Wow.
So yeah, so the music is matching my heart at that moment. So I'm doing all of that. Once I get that done, that will automatically let me know what I'm about to write about.
Right.
That I don't have to think about what I gotta do for the hook, what I gotta do for the lyrics. It's already in the music. So it's already in the music. It came from my heart already. So my heart is playing. So I'm writing from the heart.
Right.
And then I put it all together, and then I say, I'm done.
Right.
Who wants to hear this?
So literally, it sounds like it's a whole process that you got. It's like you said, when you talk about passion, you talk about love, because like I wish we should. I can't wait to get the studio up and running, because just off you saying that, like the studio that I have, we building for our show, like we got all kind of music equipment, mixing boards and keyboards and stuff like that. And I told them all I need is cameras and a microphone. I don't do all of that stuff, but I mean, outside of that, it's other things there. And I've been trying to, introduce people to that, and then seeing who could teach me. Me and my cousin Nick been going out there back and forth, like building on the studio. So it's definitely interesting to hear how big of a deal music plays in the role of men, especially like black men. And I think like a lot of the kids these days are getting involved in music, but I don't think that they're really tapping into it like some of the people that I've been talking to, because we talk about people playing different instruments, producing different things. And everybody thinks when we had a DJ over here, we had they got a music school, but like a lot of these youngsters feel like, you just got to get behind the microphone and you just got to just rap. You know what I mean? That's the only way out. So it's definitely been interesting to have some of these conversations with different people and just hear about like the music scene and the music world. You know what I mean? But then like I tell people all the time, the conversation be all over the place, but they'll kind of tie back in. But I see Tori on here in the comment section. We got Brian in the comment section. So, and then you talk about being an introverted person, then moving forward and kind of growing out of that, stepping out of that comfort zone. Like, what type of people do you keep around you? Because again, you sound like you have a very solid mind. You got a strong head on your shoulders. What type of people do you keep around you to make sure that, you stay on the up and up and you stay in good spirits and you are building and connecting and growing and expanding? Like, what type of mindsets do the gentlemen around you have that kind of like attracts you or draws you to them?
You just said two names,
Right.
Brian and Tori.
Right.
those like my unblood brothers.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But beyond them, because like I have a real deep personal relationship with them. We can get together at any time, anywhere, and it's always all love. But outside of them too is my family.
Okay.
You know, like the most people I hang with, besides them two and a couple of other people, is my family. Like we have a strong bond. Yes, we do what family people do when it comes to what family people do.
Right.
But they are also my foundation. You know what I mean? They are also my foundation. They support whatever I do. I support whatever they do. I have a cousin in Pittsburgh right now that if I called her, that she is with some club down there. If I called like, yeah, I want to do a couple songs, come on down. Let's do the songs. You know what I mean? I haven't did that anymore because I don't really like perform anymore. Sometimes I do, but you know, for special occasions.
Right.
But yeah, so things like that is I try to keep people around me who's authentic. It's not about being, for me, it's not about being good or bad. It's about being authentic.
Right.
And having an open mind. You know what I mean? Because if you're authentic and you have an open mind and you do something negative, you're going to listen to me so I can make it positive.
Right.
I'm going to listen the same thing with me because that's how I am. If I'm doing something negative, let me know, call me, I'll do it. We'll do what you got to do. Let me know what I'm doing and we can do that, you know, because sometimes we be into ourselves. We be busy into ourselves so much that we kind of forget about certain things,
right,
how it affects other people around us.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, just having authentic, open-minded people around me, because one of the things about me is I don't care what you do. I only care who you are.
Okay.
Because who you are is going to define what you do. You know what I mean? Sometimes we do things that's out of character, but we're humans. Like,
exactly.
I mean, we're not going to, there's no such thing as being perfect. And even if you was perfect, people would be like, you too perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Right. You smiling too much. Why you always so happy and stuff like that?
So you're, it's just, for me, it's just about being authentic and having an open mind.
Okay. So then on top of that, like you said, some things that you kind of struck on, like accountability and stuff like that, because I was going to ask you a little bit about that. You know, a lot of us as men, we have a difficult time, like, being open to being held accountable or even being responsible for some of the things that we do. And like you said, we so wrapped up in ourselves. So like, how do you deal with that as far as like you accepting that feedback from some of these people who are so close to you? And then how do you like offer feedback? Let's say if you know your boy Brian doing something he ain't got no business doing, or Brian is doing something that's not so Brian, like how do you, like, come on, bro, like, you know what I mean? Like, how do y'all communicate amongst that? And how important is that do you feel in relationships with men?
Very important. I love getting feedback and I love giving feedback, but constructive, positive feedback. I mean, it's okay to be blunt sometimes, but not to tear someone down, because no one's going to advance if you're tearing them down, tearing them down.
Right.
You know what I mean? So for me, it's about, yes, if you're doing something, I'm going to call you out on it, but I'm not going to call you out in a way where it's destructive.
Right.
Call you out your name and all that stuff. I'm just going to be like, are you kidding me? Why? What's going on? See, my thing is this. This is my thing. Whenever I'm in a conversation with someone and they do something, right? Regardless if I agree with it or disagree with it, I'm going to ask them why.
Right.
Why did you do it?
Okay.
Why? I'm going, you know, because what I'm doing is I'm trying to make them think from their perspective of why they did it. And then whatever they come out with, that's what they come out with.
Right.
It's not for me to judge them or say you're wrong or this. I just want to know why.
Right.
So that's basically my form of feedback for the most part, is why. And I want to say this too before we move on to the next thing. Toastmasters helped me with that, because we have a feedback after everybody speak on anything. It doesn't matter, in the leadership role or in the speaker role, whatever you do, you get feedback.
Right.
So it allowed me to know more of how to be constructive at giving feedback more than I used to.
Right.
You know, now I'm able to go into detail about the feedback than just asking just why. Why did this? Okay, now, you gonna keep it going.
Understood. So then, like, when you talk about feedback, it's interesting. Like, I tell people, well, as my day job, I'm a drug and alcohol counselor, so I do a lot of cognitive behavioral therapy training and stuff like that. So I definitely understand the importance of feedback, getting and receiving. But like, well, when it comes to you like offering that, or you even being able to take that, like, how important do you think it? I don't know. Why is it important for us as men to start being more? Because I feel like a lot of us had this macho complex to where you can't tell me nothing, I can't tell you nothing, and not you and I, because clearly you have a good head on your shoulders as far as that. But why do you think men have such a difficult time giving feedback to other men and then being open to feedback when you are wrong?
I don't know. Maybe because they think it's weak.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I don't know. And we have a lot of built-in defensive mechanisms. So sometimes it might just be automatic just to be defensive, and
Right.
then you might not think about it until afterwards because we get caught up in our emotions a lot of the time. So I think when it comes to like feedback in us,
Mm-hmm.
we definitely got to be able to have a way about it where it's not negative. That's the first thing. You know,
Right.
we don't have to be so negative towards each other as Black men when it comes to feedback. Another thing is it's okay to accept feedback. I mean, we accept a whole bunch of things
Right.
in
Right.
life.
Right.
You know what I mean? We go to the grocery store, we accept somebody saying, move out the way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we do this, we do that. You know what I mean? So why can't we accept feedback? I
Right.
think because one of my speeches that I had is called Everybody is a Book, right? And the main thing about everybody, the main premise about Everybody is a Book is you have your own story. You have your own story. I have my own story.
Right.
We're not writing books, but you are the story that your book is.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when you read a book, don't you get feedback on the book? When you watch a movie, don't you get feedback on them?
Yeah.
So why can't we do that to
You're right.
each other?
You're right.
You know what I mean? Because like I say, we're not perfect. You know what I mean? We're just not put here to be perfect. If we was
Absolutely.
perfect, we would not be here, in my belief.
Absolutely.
We would not be here. So to be able to accept, I think to be able to accept feedback is crucial, but to be able to give that feedback in a way that's productive to both parties is
Mhm.
also, because that's what it's about. It's about if you think you can help somebody grow by giving them feedback, then give them the feedback. If you feel like, you know what, I got something to say, but it's going to down them, then just don't give it.
Right. Right. Understood. And then like I think this is the conversation that we was kind of talking about right before we got on the camera, because like having this conversation with you and hearing some of the things that you're saying, all like you have a lot of good stuff to say, and it's crazy that like the only reason why I know you is because I asked Brian, to come on the show, and he had to introduce me to you, and then I like kind of looked you up. But it's a lot of good men, like even Tori. Like, I don't even know how I forgot to ask Tori. I might have asked him, and you know what I mean. But like, there's so many good men in this city who are hardworking men, who are creative like yourself. You know what I mean? Who are intuitive and want to be entrepreneurs and stuff like that. But then we are so like modest about the things that we do, or we aren't that vocal about the things that we do, to where people really don't know who we are when they need to. So like, my question to you is like, what's your take on that, as far as like people not being that vocal or that boisterous about some of the things that they do, so we can kind of highlight them and put them out here, and people can know who's who and what's what going on around here? Like, what's your take on that, as far as like people not being that open or speaking up that loud about the good things that they do?
If you're a basketball player and you want to be the best basketball player that you can be, what are you going to do?
Work hard.
You're going to practice.
Yeah.
What are you practicing for? Are you practicing to lose every game, or are you practicing to be the best? I mean, what are you doing?
Absolutely the best. You're absolutely the best.
Okay. So when you go out and you play like you're the best, it comes off as you're the best, right? So I'm not saying to go around and tell everybody all macho that you're the best, but you're allowed to tell yourself you're pretty good. Yeah, I'm pretty good. I think I'm pretty. And you know what? Let me do something right quick.
Right.
So in Toastmasters, we have what you call a speech contest. Now, I did not want to get into the speech contest. I did not want to, because I felt that my speeches aren't designed for that type of atmosphere. It's designed to inspire people.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of got talked into it, because they said you can inspire people while you're doing the speech contest. And I was talking to this person for a couple of times, and I finally said, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna do it.
Right.
So I got into the speech contest. This was in 2021, the beginning of 2021, the end of 2020, the beginning of 2021. I saw, and I got into the speech contest, and the first speech contest, I got in first place.
Wow.
I got in first. It was called the Area.
Okay.
So at that time, I was the best speaker in Erie.
Okay.
And then it went on to the division or districts, one of those. I think it's division.
Right.
So Erie has 5 Toastmaster clubs. So the division had 28. And this is all in Pennsylvania. I got first in that.
Wow.
Yeah. So I placed first in that. So I was the best. I was one of the best speakers in Pennsylvania at that time.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Why don't we know this? Why aren't you bragging about? Why ain't I seeing you on Facebook, like, you know, or Instagram or TikTok? Like, man, listen, this dude is the greatest speaker side of the Mississippi.
The point that I'm getting to is I don't have a Facebook, but I do have an Instagram, and I do have the LinkedIn.
Right.
I don't think I have anything else. Maybe I don't think those are my 2 main things.
Right.
But I did. So I showed the trophies. So I showed the trophies next to a bottle of gold champagne.
Right.
Saying this money.
Right.
This is my money right here.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So so it is. So how I look at it is celebrating. I don't look at it as any other way.
Right.
What I'm doing is I got this, and now I'm celebrating. I'm not telling you that I'm better than you.
Right.
I'm telling you that I'm celebrating this victory, because I made a video, because I make music videos too without
so you got everything going on.
I make music videos, like I call them inspirational video music music videos, because I'll have a beat, then I'll cut up videos to match with the beat. So I'll have a theme behind it. Let's say one of the themes is a path to the castle. So in the theme, so the music is playing, and I'm showing how a person go from the village all the way to the castle through the video.
Right.
You know, no words or nothing. You know what I mean? So I had this one video called Celebrate Your Victories.
Right.
So I think it's good to celebrate when you have a victory. I find any excuse to celebrate.
There we go.
What? I got these new shoes. I'm going out to
Right. So let me ask you on the flip side. Why do you think on the flip side people aren't too open to doing that? I think people like, you know, I like to let my work show for itself, or I don't want to be too cocky and all of that. But
that's cool. So it goes to the person. You know what I mean? It's to the individual. But for me, I have that as well.
Right.
But once again, for me personally, that's part of my comfort, and I want to get out of that comfort mindset. I'm still working on it.
Right.
Every day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, like, that's cool if you want to do that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Because like I say, I used to be like that until the day I wasn't.
Right.
Until the day I wasn't. I want to share, you know, some of my, because I do a lot of research and a lot of stuff before, you know, to help me make up my mind about certain things.
Right.
And one of the things that I've seen, they said, don't promote yourself. You know, other people should promote you, was one of the things that I said, that makes sense, but that's my introvert talking.
Right.
So if like, how can I sit here and say, I'm me personally, how can I sit here and say, I'm gonna make a difference and don't promote myself to other people who don't know that I'm trying to inspire you? How are you going to get inspired if you don't know me, if I don't know you to inspire you?
Right.
Who am I inspiring? The man in the mirror? I mean, that's cool, but that I want more than that. So in order for me to get more, I have to promote myself.
Absolutely. I agree, man. And I'm glad that you're saying that we on this subject, because like, from the stuff that you're saying, it all sounds good. And I'm literally, like I said, I'm working on getting the public speaking, and I'm trying to like turn it into something like eventually I'm going to get paid for. And I'm like, from the way that you got it set up, like you sound like you the walk and motivate app over here, and you're doing it all out the goodness of your heart when it's, you know, it's possible for you. Like literally, you talk about making a video, You know, you got the music to match. The only thing that's missing at this point is you doing the voiceover, just, you know what I mean, narrating it through for 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 90 seconds. Now you got people waking up every single day, looking on their phone, waiting for your messages, your motivation and stuff like that. So like, it's interesting that I'm having this conversation with you, and like every person that I've had conversations with, somehow, some way, we all kind of are very similar in ways into where things align up to where I feel like we all need to be in the room together where we can create some opportunities. So like, my question to you is like, outside of it being a thing of passion for you, why not take it to the next level and try to monetize your gift of speaking and your gift of research and your gift of editing and your gift of music to kind of like put all of that together? And then especially the way that you think, imagine if you went in front of a school of teenagers and just, you know, told them it's okay for you to be yourself and it's okay for you to explore your imagination. Like, why not?
I mean, that's a goal. That's a goal. But just like anything else, I'm in baby mode.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm still learning myself. I've only been doing this for 4 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? They say it takes 5 years before you can really get in, before you're a seasoned speaker. Takes like 5 years.
Who is they?
You know, things that I from other speakers that I've read, that I've researched.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's who I'm talking about.
Okay.
Like other speakers.
Got you.
So a lot of them say that.
Okay.
You know, I think, I don't know if that's the case or not. I can't, you know, I can only speak from my perspective. I can't speak from nobody else's.
Right.
But for me, it looks like it's going to take that 5 years. You know
really?
I mean? Because one of the things about me is it's not about me being perfect. It's about me getting over myself.
Right.
Do you see what I mean? It's about me being able to, okay, Terrell, I need to do a speech right now. Boom, boom. Hey, long time ago we was doing this. We was do, you know what I mean? It's getting that.
So you think you can do that?
Oh yeah. I
Okay.
can do that. I get, yeah. For the most part, yeah, I could do that. Because once again, it goes to practice.
Right. Right.
So I've practiced a lot. I practice sometimes 2 or 3 hours a day on a speech, any given speech that I'm about to do.
Right.
Even when I'm not giving a speech, I'm still practicing.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm still coming up with ideas. I'm still coming up with ways to tinker the way that I speak. You know what I mean? Because one of the things that they say that's good, that is said that's good in speaking, is to have action points.
Right.
You know what I mean? Have some action points. So when people leave or someone leaves from your speech, they can have something to take home and then work on themselves. You know what I mean? So I had to learn how to do that.
Okay.
And I'm still learning how to do that, because there's when you have a speak, the initial body of a speech is the intro, the body, and the conclusion.
Right.
So you got to have that intro, you got to have that body, and then you have to have that conclusion. Now the conclusion is where all the action points come in.
Right.
But that's only one part of it. You can also add you could, like, let's say you got 3 different action points. You can do the action in one action in the intro, one action of the body, one action. It's so many different ways that you can do it. And I'm looking at different ways to do it, not just one way. You know what I mean? Because like I say, you can have more than one talent. You can be more than one way. You can have more than one dimension to yourself. So it's not just, I don't just want to be looked at as just an inspirational, motivational speaker. I want to do keynotes too.
Right.
You know what I mean? I want to do little 3 or 4. I want to be able to do 3 or 4 5-minute speeches too.
Okay.
Boom, boom, boom.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. So you pretty much, you about to perfect it. You know, I got to perfect my craft before I do anything. I'm hopping in there. That's what I like to hear. So then, like, so when we talk about speeches and, you know, we talk about like different men and things like that, like, what's your take as far as I kind of feel like we somewhere in the same generation to where we talk about like the leadership that's going on around the city and the leadership in the community, as far as like some of us in our generation of men kind of stepping up to the plate and kind of taking on the responsibility of being leaders and leading our people and being more involved in the community. Like, what's your thoughts on that as far as our generation and your generation of men stepping up to those leadership roles and positions and like being more active in the community? What's your thoughts on that?
The first thing about leader from my perspective, because I like to do things from my perspective.
Okay.
The first thing about a leader that I've came across for me is to be able to lead yourself first. You have to be able to lead yourself. If you cannot lead yourself, how are you going to be able to lead someone else?
Right.
You know what I mean? So you got to have your right. You got to have your mind right.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is that you're talking. Not saying you got to do everything, but
Right.
there has to be some authenticity to whatever it is that you're doing or talking about. Because a leader is just a title too. That's
Exactly.
just like everything else.
Mhm.
There's a title behind it. So if you're a leader, a self leader, you will come across, because the one thing about leader too is you can call yourself a leader or the people can call you a leader.
Right.
You have that as well.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's
Right.
different type of leaders. There's not just one type of leader.
Okay.
So the thing about that is here where we live at today, we have a lot of great leaders. We do. But the thing is, are people open to the leaders? That is where the real thing is.
Right.
You know what I mean? People being open to those leaders that's trying to have that conversation
Mm-hmm.
with you, that is trying to come out and be authentic with you and lead yourself and lead myself and lead others.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then when you do lead them, where are you going to lead them to? Are you going to guide them? Are you going to give them action? You know what I'm saying? So I see a lot of that going on, and I honestly do see a lot of people coming into that and having an open mind to it. I know me for myself, because like I say, I can only speak. I can speak from my own perspective a lot of the
Mhm.
times, but for me, people was coming at me like I was a leader before I even thought about myself being the leader.
Right,
Like the people
right.
chose me. The people that I was around chose me to be the leader, you know,
Right.
especially in my family. You know what I mean? So it's like I do things and they're like, yeah, you inspired me to do this. And I'm like, what?
Right. Right.
I didn't even know it. And,
Right.
and then I think that is one of the reasons why when we go back to the public speaking and what made me get into it, and I'm sitting at my desk, I think that was the leader growing in me,
Uh-huh.
you know, that wanting to come out. You see
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
Wanting to come out and wanting to share myself with other people, because that's one of the biggest things about a leader. And like I say, a lot of leaders do that, is they share. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that's the worst thing you could do is take something and keep it to yourself.
Exactly, man.
Get information and then just hold on to it. Like, nope, this is mine.
Right.
That's what 2-year-olds do.
Exactly.
So leaders, they get it and they share it. You know what I mean? Regardless of whatever it is, they feel that it's the leader in them. And I find a lot of leaders here do that.
Right, right. So then as far as like some of the things, because they said the 16501 zip code was the worst for Black people. You know what I mean? And then there's a lot of people who are a lot of us. I'm gonna speak when I say us because I feel like myself included. There are a lot of different people who are trying to do different things to kind of build Erie back up, to kind of make it more relevant for us as Black people to live here. Like, so then as far as like that movement or that little thing that's going on, like, what do you think about that? As far as, again, like some of the people in our generation or our age era, kind of like once we get to the point to where we can show that we are leaders because we worked on ourselves, like, what do you think that we should be doing? You know what I mean? When it comes to like kind of create more opportunities for ourselves around here.
That's easy too. Love. Everyone has a different idea of what love is.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, I love what I do with
Mhm.
music. I love music. It's a passion. You know what I mean? I also have love for other people that that does music. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Like, I put a new video out or a new song out the same day Nas put his King's Disease 3 out. I had no idea he was coming out this at the same time. I was
Right.
like, I don't care, I'm still doing it.
Right.
I don't care. It's love. I love the fact that he did that. You know what I mean? So the thing is, it's about us having love for each other and having love for what we do. You know what I mean? And having love for what you do as well. You see what I mean? Because a lot of people connect when they do things the same. They don't know each other,
Right.
but they have that connection because they're doing the same thing. That's synchronicity.
Right.
That's a synchronicity that two people have. That is something about it is we don't know each other, but yet we do know each other.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's about that synchronicity, that love of doing the same thing that someone else is doing, or just love, period. That's what it's about. Like,
Right.
if you a leader and you love sharing what you sharing, and you see another leader who and they're different than yours, who cares?
Right.
Love that.
Exactly.
Love that.
Exactly.
Love the fact that they are willing to share what they get, what they know, regardless if you agree with it or not. You know
Right.
what I mean? Why do we all have to have the same mind? That the world would be so boring
If
if
everybody
everybody thought the same.
yeah, we rock around like
I
robots.
would not want to live in that world. I'd be on a boat or a yacht,
Right.
because I don't do boats, but I'll be on a yacht. And
Yeah, man. But
everybody
it's
thought like,
interesting to hear that perspective too, because like again, like you said, like you got when you lead and you get to the point to where you have something, you also got to be able to give it away. You also want to be able to have other people who can do some of the things that you know how to do and even do it better. You know what I mean? So now what like, because I feel like I'm leading some, I want to be able to leave something behind. So I'm not going to put myself in a point to where I'm superior amongst or above everybody else and then never even get that information out or pass that stuff back. And I think that's very important. I feel like right now, it's a lot of people in this city who are involved in this type of thinking, who are involved in this type of activity and involved in this type of mindset. And then even like with the information that we have in the technology, like you said, you're a researcher. I'm a researcher. I tell people I'm a nerd. Like I keep 2 computers on me at all times. Then I got my smartphone. If I don't know something, I'm going to figure it out. So I feel like it's a lot of us who are, walking around here who are doing great things, who have these great skill sets, who have these great qualities, and we don't even know each other. And that's another one of the reasons why, I want to do this. I'm doing this show is because I want people to kind of get familiar with one another and kind of see, like, you might have said some things or somebody's watching, like, I need to get in touch with that dude because he can help me or I can help him. And then, like I said, all the guests that I've had on here before, what I want to do is I want to have some type of event or some type of meeting to where we all get together. But it keeps happening. Like the guests keep rolling in. This is interview. I'm about to look right now. Interview number. How many videos do I have? I think this is like interview number 27 or 28. You know what I mean? So it's kind of difficult to sit down and have that conversation with everybody. But I do feel like we need to start interacting and connecting with each other because it's a lot of strong-minded brothers, man, in the city. It's a lot of like-minded individuals. And then it's a lot of people who are different in a sense, but are all great to where everything is connecting and tying together to where we all can do something. So like, even when we come on that, because Brian spoke a lot yesterday about like us collaborating, us building together. Like, what's your thoughts on it as far as like us in this city? And again, I know the women are doing amazing things, but as far as like putting the focus and the emphasis on the men, because I feel like we need to kind of start putting some changes, like us starting to collaborate and feeling comfortable with one another. You know what I mean? Like, what's your thoughts on that as far as us, building together?
One of the things I learned from Toastmasters.
Okay.
I didn't have this mindset at first, but it's really one of the things that I learned from Toastmasters and that I gained a lot of experience in. Networking.
Right.
Networking is so important. It's not even funny. If you network with people, I believe your opportunities will skyrocket times 100.
Mm-hmm.
I know mine did.
Mm-hmm.
It's really all about networking. Who knows who? Even if you don't know someone, get to know them. You know what I mean? Like, they always, there was that saying, where you go to a girl, you try to talk to her. She be like, I don't know you. You be like, get to know me.
Right. Get to know me. Right.
No one knows anybody at first. You know what I mean? But you never know who is who, what they're doing, what is what. So it's like we're a network. This is a network.
Absolutely.
See what I'm saying? This isn't. I don't know you.
Right.
I don't believe I ever saw you before. Maybe I did. I don't know. But we're doing networking in real time.
Right.
Live.
Exactly.
We're not on the phone.
Right.
We even talked to each other before here.
Right.
I had no idea what you was really going to say to me. But it's networking. You know what I mean? So now, from this point on, I can be like, yo, brother, blah, blah, blah. You can be like, yo, brother, blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So that is the 100% key thing that we need to do to stay in touch, is just to network with each other, find out what we do, and then see if we can create opportunity out of it. If I can't create opportunity out of it, that's fine. If you get one, kudos.
Exactly.
That's what's up.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean that my opportunity will never come. It's just not coming at that time. So I'm supposed to support you at that moment.
Right.
Oh, great job.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been in public speaking for 4 years. If you get a public speaking gig tomorrow, I'm like, can I get on the bill? But before that, I'm gonna be like, congratulations.
Exactly.
Congratulations, man. Like, you know what I mean? We should be congratulating each other.
Absolutely, man. I agree with that wholeheartedly. And then, like, even with like what you're saying, like I was telling Brian the other day, like I always seen him, walking down the street carrying his equipment and stuff like that. But I really never really knew him outside of what I seen on social media. But then to sit down and have that conversation and kind of learn a little bit more about who he is and what he embodies and what he entails, it's like, yo, I can get a lot from this dude. You know what I mean? And I feel like since it was me asking him questions, he don't know too much about me, but I feel like I have a lot to offer him as well. And that's why I want to create this space and I want to have this I don't know call it a event or whatever, but I want to have it to where everybody comes together and we all can just kind of like sit in the room. I don't care if it's brunch, lunch, breakfast, or if we gentlemen go out and have some drinks or whatever the case may be. But it's for us to kind of all know, like, listen, we've been a part of this social experiment show. We all know we bring, and then everybody has the opportunity to go watch everybody else's story if they would like to. So then it's kind of like, oh, I can take something from this guy, I can take something from that guy. So then when we do have this meeting or we do have this event, it's like, hey man, I need to talk to you, man, because I've been working on this speak thing and you seem like you got it all figured out and mastered. And somebody else might be like, I got a studio, you do beats. I can't quite put my ear on it. And now I heard, because I had a guy on here who's in the studio who actually does, stuff in the studio. We got musicians on here. We got Brandon Wiley on here who does public speaking and engagements. Like he's come on here. Then I got my bro Donald Brown. He do a lot of behind the scenes work when it comes to like the internet and the marketing and stuff like that. So we literally have an empire of men who can come together and create and build something greater than we've ever seen in the city of Erie, Pennsylvania. And that's what we're trying to do with the social experiment, is create those relationships, create a networking opportunity for us amongst men, and then for us to look impressionable and admirable to the youth. So then that way they can kind of look at us and lean on us and realize that, like, I don't have to be a dope boy, or I don't have to want to go to jail, or I don't have to be one to have to chase around all these women, but I can look up to these 25, 30, 40, 50, however many men we get on here, and realize and understand that I can be somebody. I can feel good about like I talk to people on here, people are talking about how happy they are, how good they feel about themselves. So like, I appreciate everything that you said, man, for real, because I feel like you embody every single thing that, I'm looking for when it comes to like building these relationships and this networking opportunity. I definitely appreciate Brian for even throwing your name out there, you know what I mean? But like, even just like on some of the stuff that I said and my thought process behind like building these relationships and creating these relationships with us as men in a fellowship, and then being admirable to the youth, like, give me a little, what's your thoughts on that? Like, what's your take on as far as everything that I just said when it comes to us creating and building this network to where we can continue to grow?
I got this saying, I'm an individual and a team.
Okay.
What that means is I can do good by myself, but with a team, it can be endless. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back to the music.
Right.
I heard someone say this. This is not coming from me. Universe. So if you break up universe,
Mm-hmm.
uni one verse song.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, you're an instrument in an ensemble. You know what I mean? So the drums sound nice by themselves, but that's what happens when the guitar starts playing with the drum.
Right.
What happens when the saxophones start playing with the drum and the saxophone and whatever else instrument you got, and you put all these instruments together,
Right.
and now you got a band.
Right.
So people will come to see the drummer by itself if the drummer is good, but if you have the drummer and everyone else and all the other instruments,
Right,
you can make music to no end. You know what I mean? So that's how I see it.
And it's crazy, the analogy that Brian used yesterday when he was talking about ice cream and candy. You know what I mean? He was like, you think of Dairy Queen and they got the ice cream, and then you think of like they add Oreo to their Blizzard. Like, Oreo's a company here. Everybody loves Oreo. Everybody loves ice cream. But then when you kind of put it together, it's just like, it's that much better. It's that much greater. And if we can kind of start understanding the importance of us like building with each other and making things better. And I'm loving the different analogies that everybody's using, because we all speaking in a different language, but we know to be saying the same thing as far as like how much better things would be if we all come together and if we all just kind of figured out ways that we can settle whatever differences they are, if there are any differences, but then actually realizing and understanding that like we are powerful people, man. And like I said, you were sitting here, you talking about celebrating, you know what I mean, taking pride in your work. And I feel like everybody needs to be like that. Like, everybody needs to understand how important they are. Everybody needs to feel comfortable within themselves to be able to make a change or make a difference, man. And I feel like everything that you said, like I said, man, you embody, excuse me, you embody some of the things that I would like to have myself. You know, some of the things that you do, I aspire to do. And then with the public speaking thing, like that's something that I'm working on right now. Like, and when it comes to public speaking, I've been doing group facilitating for the last, I want to say like 13 years. So I've been spoken in front of groups where the largest group is like 150, the smallest. I mean, then it's individual sessions. So like when it comes to like everything that you're saying, when you talk about the speaking, like I'm all down with that. I'm all for it. And I'm literally working on some things to where I'm trying to get in front of some crowds and in front of some groups. And I would love to invite you to some of that stuff. I mean, I know you're saying you got another year to wait, but I just feel like right now the time is now. And even if you're talking about practicing, I feel like it's a group of children, or not children, it's a group of young people that could even just use some of the motivation and some of the inspiration, even if it was just your practice. And then to see a black man who's positive, a black man who has a job, and a black man who's in tune with itself and in touch with itself, I feel like you have something that you can bring to the table that we are trying to build within this community. And I want you to be a part of that. I want you to be a part of these conversations. I'm a part of these meetings and different things just so we can learn and take in, because we all need to start identifying who's who, and we need to start creating and building allies amongst ourselves so we don't have to we can be free. Like you said, freedom is currency. I just want to be free, and I want to be happy, and I want to feel safe for people around me. So like I appreciate everything that you had to say. You know what I mean? And we've been running for an hour. I don't know how much more you got. But, you know, we've been running for like an hour. I tell people I try to cut them at an hour. We want to saturate them. You know what I mean? I want people to find you. But then it's like, how do they find you outside of LinkedIn? Like, how do we find your music? How do we get involved with some of the things that you got going on? Where do we find Mr. Terrell Woodard at?
So let me say something before I say that.
Go ahead, man. It's your show.
So when I talk about the 5 years,
right?
What I mean is getting paid like $5,000.
Oh, okay.
Like, you know, like getting like.
Oh, you mean 5 years till you get that big check?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant 5 years till you put yourself out there.
I'm already out there.
Okay.
I'm already out there. I think I spoke in front of 500 people. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, I'm thinking you got to wait until you build it up and get to the point where.
No. The speech contest in Pennsylvania, that was at least 500 people, at least.
Okay.
So, to my knowledge. But no, I'm already I'm out here when it comes to speaking. I'm talking about getting paid.
Paid.
Yeah.
ET money. Yeah. Tony Robbins money. Okay.
Quit your job money. But
yeah.
You know,
not quitting. Edit that out. Yeah, edit that out. Yeah, none of that.
I told you I'm a joker, but
I'm you can't play with that. They count that 2 week notice for some people.
Hey, I love my job.
Right.
Real, straight up. Like it gave me the opportunity to be and do what I wanted to do. Everything came from the job that I got.
Right.
You know what I mean? Some people, I know they don't have as many opportunities, but from my perspective, I had a lot of, and still do get a lot of opportunities from my job. I love it to death.
Yeah, a lot of people speak highly of working at Erie Insurance. A lot of people. Yeah,
there's countless opportunities there. You know what I mean? But going back to your question, what was it again?
I was asking you about. Oh, I forget what I was asking about, because you held back on the 5 years thing. But I was just saying, as far as like being involved and you know and getting more active, being active in the community, as far as like speaking and going in front of groups. But pretty much, saying, like I'm here, I'm ready, I do that already.
So yeah, I can do that. Like that's what I've been doing for 4 years. I've been in front of people since day one, actually. You know what I mean? So it's nothing for me to be in front of someone and talk. My thing is always, how much time do I have?
Right.
I need to know how much time, you know, and then if you, whatever time, an hour, 45 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 15, I'll base the speech based off that time. Because like I say, one of the things with Toastmasters, it made us do this, made us have be conscious. It made us be conscious of the time that we have on the stage, because that time is very important. Right. You never know if someone else is coming on. You never know what's going on. You know what I mean? You never know how long somebody has the venue for. So it definitely allowed me to be very conscious of the time.
Right.
I already know what to say. I just need the time.
Okay.
So
all right.
Definitely.
Good. Oh yeah, no, that's what I asked you. Like, how do we find you? Where do we?
Yeah. Okay.
Where do we find you? You got all of this stuff going on. How do we find you? Where do we find the music? Where do we find the speeches? Where do we find, like, outside of LinkedIn?
So outside of LinkedIn, you can. I don't know if I have anything else. I think it's Instagram.
Okay.
But my Instagram, I put all my music. So my Instagram is basically my whole creative process. I don't have it separate right now. So my whole thing is I put all my creative, whatever, a speech, whatever, pictures,
Right.
music. So it's opportunity thoughts.
Right.
Opportunity
That's your
thoughts.
Instagram name?
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it in the
All
comments.
one word. All one word. Opportunity thoughts.
Okay.
They can find me there. It's the first time I ever promoted.
Listen, man, we gotta listen, and that's what we doing, man. Like that's what it's about for real. Like it's about, and I tell people, I call them over here, like it's about us praising each other. It's about us giving other men flowers, uplifting one another, and building and connecting. So then that way we can do great things. And we can kind of piggyback off of each other. We can start collaborating. We can start identifying, knowing who's who, because a lot of us will walk past each other and we won't speak. I don't know what you're going through. You don't know what I'm going through. So I might walk give you a head nod or whatever. You know what I mean? But outside of, you know, what's going on, bro? How you doing? And how's your day going and stuff like that. And I feel like it's important for us to kind of change the way it's been over history, I guess. You know, like I said, we got the technology and we have the opportunity to highlight and showcase people, because if you were to walk out of this building right now and you were to rob the store downstairs, everybody's gonna know who you are. Right. Everybody gonna know what you did. They're gonna know where you came from. They're gonna know how much money you walked out of there with. They're gonna know how you attacked it. You know what I mean? But as far as like all of this stuff that you and I just talked about for the last hour, like I just had to find it out here. And now that I know it, I feel like I want to be able to tell other people. And that's why I'm doing this, because now other people are going to be able to look for it. Other people are going to be able to find you. And we all have different communities and different networks of people that we can connect with, to where you might have 50 people who will follow you that will never talk to me. I might have 50 people who will follow me and never talk to you. And then I say, hey, go holler at my man Terrell. And they're like, oh, okay, well, let me go talk to him. Like you said, Brian said, go holler at him. It was good. So we need to figure out how we can create these opportunities for one another and kind of build within, because like I feel like we've been looking for a lot of outside help, you know, in our history, and a lot of us are stuck in those old ways. And it's a new generation of people. It's a new generation of thinking, and we are surrounding ourselves with the people who are thinking in the direction and the path that we want to go, in order for us to free ourselves as people, for us to build as men, and for us to build our community. So, like, again, that's the whole concept behind the social experiment and having these different conversations, interviews with men. And like I said, we've been running for, you know, an hour and some change, and I named it the Terrell Woodard Show. So, I mean, before I close out or anything, I'm going to give you the opportunity to where, you know, you can feel free to say what you want to say. You take as much time as you need. I feel like I've asked every question that I wanted to ask. So I don't know if you got any questions for me, any plugs you want to drop, you want to show any love. We got Tori. Tori was in the comments and Brian was in the comments. We got a couple viewers, but the only people who interacted was Tori and Brian so far from what I can see on this one. But we got some likes, we got some loves, we got some comments. I mean, some interaction. So I don't know if you got anybody you want to talk to or anything you want to drop, but feel free, man. The mic is yours.
So I want to ask you a question.
All right.
So what type of public speaking do you do, and why did you want to get into public speaking?
So as far as like you said, like motivation,
and real quick, do you want it to be a business?
Do I want it to be a business? I wanted to create an opportunity for me to be free. And if that means business, that means business. But I don't want to bank on it in the sense of I feel like I have to speak to get paid. Mm-hmm. But if I want to go to, let's say I want to go to LA, and it's an engagement out there for me, you know what I mean? I want to motivate people, I want to inspire people, I want to encourage people. And I have my resume is pretty strong and very long, as far as like I've been working in the drug and alcohol field for the last 13 years. So when you talk about training, I've had the motivational interviewing training and the CBD training and, you know, working with difficult situations and problem solving and stuff like that. So when it comes to speaking, I read a lot of self-help books. I listen to a lot of self-help books. So the things that I would talk about would be just uplifting people, motivating people, educating people on ways to change their way of thinking, change the way of living, and then just being able to learn, build, and grow. Like I don't want to pour no nonsense into nobody. I honestly feel like I can change the world. So when it comes to me public speaking, if I'm talking to babies, I can interact with them. If I'm talking to adolescents, teenagers, adult men, women, whatever the case may be, because the message is going to be consistent as far as change, I know how to connect to the audiences that I speak to. So, I mean, as far as like turning into a business, I wanted to allow me to be free to be able to do what I want to do and help the people that I can. And in return, that's where the currency comes into play.
See, and that's funny you say that, because I've always been like that, like to be able to talk to any type of person, mm-hmm. regardless if it's a baby or an 80-year-old person, mm-hmm. they're going to get the same thing from me.
Exactly.
Because I call that a universal mindset. You know what I mean? So it's not just saying, okay, I'm gonna do this for this for this. No. It's going my because I try to, one of the things I try to do with my speaking is get it to a point where it's universal. It's not easy, you know what I mean? I'm aware that some people is not going to accept, but that's life,
Right.
period. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like, because I'll give you an example. I had to do a webinar for at work. I had to do a webinar, and there was a couple people that liked it, but there was some couple people was like, and that's okay. It's
Right.
okay. That's fine. You
Right.
know what I mean? It's like, that particular speech probably wasn't for that person, or maybe they heard it before. What, you don't know what the reason is.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't negative, but it was just like, and that's fine. That's
Right.
going to happen. You know what I mean?
Right.
I remember one day, I'll give you a story. I was it was my second speech. It was my second or third speech. So my first speech, I killed it.
Mm-hmm.
Killed it. Spoke for 5 minutes about changing the what if inside of you. So it was about me being scared to go to the dentist.
Okay.
So it was about me saying, what if I go to the dentist and this happened? What if I go to the dentist is usually a what if and then something negative after that.
Right.
So then I changed it to a positive after my tooth broke. So I'm like, what if the dentist is able to, so I think there guys standing ovation, right?
Okay.
All into myself. The second or third speech was about leadership.
Right.
So I had to do one about leadership. So we have this thing called word of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to incorporate the word. You don't have to, but a good thing is to incorporate the word into whatever it is you're speaking about.
Right.
So instead of me going over my speech in my head, because I'm still new at it, I was thinking about how am I going to incorporate that word into my speech.
Right.
So they call me Terrell Woodard. I get up there and I incorporate the word at the very beginning of my speech.
Mm-hmm.
And then I start talking about leadership. Back you. I have this thing called brand as a leader, BACU, back you with honesty. B is for balance, A is for authentic, C is for communication, U is for understanding, and I'm being as honest as possible. That's my brand as a leader. So wherever I go, I'll just talk. I just use that as my brand as a leader.
Okay.
So I'm going into that, and right afterwards, my mind goes blank.
Wow.
It's like 70 people in this room, all coworkers. My mind goes blank. And I'm just looking, and I could see people getting uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just coming off ad lib. My heart is pumping. I'm ready to cry, go sit down. And then it comes back to me. And I'm like, oh, it's coming back. So I start to get on the ball again. Everybody looking back. Everybody getting it. And then my mind goes blank again.
Oh, man.
So I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, what in the world am I going to do? So I made a joke about jumping out the window because there was a window behind me, and then people started laughing. But in the crowd, there was people started to pull out their phones, people looking up at the sky, people looking up at the sky and everything. It was definitely, for me being an introvert, it was tough. You know what I mean? And I got done with it.
Right.
I got done. I didn't sit down and say I'm never going to do this again.
Right.
I got right back to it and say I'm going to do a speech the next time. But that wasn't the only time I went blank. I went blank a couple times. You know what I mean? So what did I do? I said, I'm going to go and I'm going to start ad-libbing my speeches. With that, what I mean by ad-libbing is not hardly write anything down.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm a writer.
Okay.
So I used to write my speeches down, and then I used to read it,
right,
and then go to stop reading it, and then just come off the top.
Right.
That was my rehearsal.
Right.
So this time I said, you know what? I'm gonna just have 3 talking points, and I'm gonna just go through it, rehearse the 3 talking points,
right,
and then time myself. So I started to do that, and then I started to get to a point where I didn't even do that. I would just go and talk for 7 minutes because they give you a time: green, yellow, red, green, yellow, red. So green means you did your 4 or 5 minutes. So I would talk into green, and then I would start closing it up. So what that did for me is it stopped the blank that goes on in my mind whenever I get too nervous or whenever I don't know what to say. So now I can come off the cuff and no one will ever know it. I did that in my second speech contest that I won first place. I messed up at the end. They never knew.
Right. Yeah, no, I definitely, I love doing the public speaking thing. Like, I mean, even I get up in the morning, I go on Facebook Live, and I'll talk. It'll be, I just have the plan on going there for 5 minutes, and I'll be on there going for a whole hour, man. And you got people in the comments just, motivated or inspired, and then I give a little bit of myself as well, because I feel like we need some inspiration from people who are real, and who are genuine. Like, it's a lot of people who make things look like everything is going all right and everything is good. So I speak from the heart, and I share some encouragement. I share some of my knowledge, my education, and my information. I'm a very resourceful person. So, like, I'm a huge advocate for help. I always tell people, like, I end all my videos with, if you need help, reach out to me. I'm able and willing to help you. If I'm not able to help you, I'm pretty sure I can find somebody who can, because I'm very resourceful. You know what I mean? Because I want people to understand the importance of being able to reach out to people, being able to connect with people. And like I said, I'm a huge advocate for mental health. So I like to make sure that they're taking care of themselves mentally. And if there's ever anything that I can do, if it's some encouraging words, if it's a hug, if it's a resource, like, I'm always sharing that information. I feel like I need to be in bigger rooms where more people are present so they can get that information, because I'm very well aware of myself, and I know what I bring to the table and how I present the information that I am presenting. So I feel like it's going to be a perfect opportunity for me to do it. And like, I'm branding, I'm growing, I'm marketing, I'm getting stuff out there, and like, things are starting to look up for me.
So let me ask you this one last question. I want to ask you this. What made you do this? Like, was there what is your before and after? Like, what was your before this? What made you do this? What's your after?
Okay,
this?
so before, because all right, so here's the thing. I'm born and raised in Erie, Pennsylvania, but I was always involved in different community centers. You know what I mean? And then my grandfather played a major role in my life. Then I played sports. You know what I mean? And then I went to college. So I always had positive people around me who were speaking life into me, and who were always pouring good messages into me. And then as I educated myself, I mean, it was a point in time I got expelled from school. I had a paper route and I had a knife in my pocket. I got expelled from school for that. And there really wasn't nobody to advocate for me at that time. But then I felt like there's going to be other young men who are going to be in situations like myself, and they're not going to have the supports around them like I had around me. And I feel like since I had that, I have to give that back. You know what I mean? So like, for me, it's more of I want to pour into my people and pour into my community because somebody did it for me. I understand the importance of it. I understand the benefits of it. You know what I mean? I understand how important it is to have some positive messages and positive words around you. And I feel like people aren't doing that. And I'm not the type of person to complain without action. Like, if I'm complaining about something, if you hear me boo-hooing about something, believe you me, I'm putting forth some type of effort to make a change. So, and I see it's a lot of negativity in the world. It's a lot of men without jobs, a lot of kids without fathers, a lot of, young ladies without guidance. And who am I to sit back and complain when I know that I have the mental capacity, I have the education, I have the resource, and I have the knowledge to be able to share it with people to change that. So, like, I'm a huge advocate for change. I grew up in this, my life wasn't the greatest, but it wasn't the worst. You know what I mean? So it was like, I had some tough times that if somebody would have been there to pull me out, I would have been better. So I just want to just do for the world what the world did for me and more.
Nice. All right. One more thing, and then we're done.
All right.
When it's a knock on the sky, you better stop and listen, better relieve that stress, let go of all attention. We are the same, not different, just act different, think different. Each and every one of us is gifted. But mine is this. Feels like a kiss feel forever bliss. Going for a while, then it's highly miss. Back to satisfaction with a reaction. Moving and out without traction. Then back to my faction. Won't do a body snatching, but I do a mind hacking. Unlimited backing with some potential making strategic attacking. While others play chess, I play Monopoly. I'm the only one that's stopping me. The confidence is off the charts. Written on the wall on the top of dots. Hit in the bullseye, 50 points. When it starts, it's over. Gotta play to win. If I lose, get up, try again. Laugh in the lines, then hold the grin, not perfect, total sin. Clean slate, clean house, delete, recycle bin. On the scale from 1 to 10, I'm about 500 million. You can wreck nations with a single pen. I don't even know how it all happened. No origin story, just a child rapping rhymes, never slacking, no acting. I deserve what I get. Good or bad, never quit. When I brainstorm, your lights go out. Have a candle lit. Work out, stay fit. Grind away with true grit. Sit for a second, then I'm back on the town, getting down with something round, cold bottle model. Foot on the throttle, party like it ain't no tomorrow. Really feeling sorrow when I give not a ball, way more substance in his body, not hollow. I can write a book like a fish that got caught off the hook. New sight view, I'm off the look.
Wow, man, that was
a rapping public speaker.
Was that a freestyle?
That's written spit.
Okay. I was feeling that too, man. I was listening to what you were saying. I heard the positivity in there, man. I love it.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I'm a conscious rapper.
I see.
Definitely.
I can tell from the things that you said, man. We got people. He started rapping. Hey, love. That's what's up. The interactions in the comments is going up, but I appreciate that, man, for real. I appreciate your time, and I'm gonna tell you, like I tell everybody else, like I believe you are an amazing man. Like I love the ideas that you share with me. I love your thought process. I love your determination, your drive, your will, and like we lack that in our community. We lack that in our being, in our species as a man. We lack that as African American people, and I'm glad that I connected with you because I feel like you can be a resource for me and I can be a resource for you.
Definitely.
And like I said, as far as this group of men that we are building, we are all going to be resources for one another. We're going to stay in contact with each other. We're going to have some type of an event. Like I said, might be a brunch, it might be a party, it might just be a we sit down and just introduce and meet and greet. But I want us all to get together before it dies down and things get too late, because everybody brings something to the table. We are all powerful beings. We all play a major role in what's going on around her. And I feel like we can get to the point to where we can really make some things shake. And I want you to be a part of that. So I appreciate your time. We sat here and we ran for an hour and a half. This might have been the longest show. You know what I mean?
Oh no.
And we're gonna have that's good. That's not a bad thing, man. We're gonna have many more to go. I got to check with my man Shannon Pulliam, but me and Shannon Pulliam supposed to be going tomorrow too. I believe we going around 1:00. But outside of that, like, I had a great time with you, Mr. Woodard, Mr. Terrell Woodard on the Social Experiment Show.
Ditto.
Brian, thank you for the referral, man. It was definitely a great conversation. I appreciate the bars at the end. Everybody, I hope y'all have a good rest of y'all night. Appreciate y'all viewing. Appreciate the interactions. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you like. Go tell your friends about it. I tell people all the time, I don't care if you're talking trash about us. Just talk about us. Publicity is publicity. But we want to be in the group chats. We want to be in the screenshots. We want to be in the inboxes. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're going to get our views up. We also want to keep highlighting these powerful men within our city and our community. We're going to connect these men to one another, and we are going to do something that is going to be great, something that has never, ever been seen before, some things that have never happened. We are creating history with this. So please, please, please stay posted, because we're going to continue to have interviews. Start looking for some of these gentlemen who we've had on these who we've had on these interviews. Start reaching out to different people. We're going to build our community up. We're going to uplift our people. We are going to change the world starting right here in Erie, Pennsylvania. I strongly do believe that. So I appreciate everybody for their time. Again, Terrell, I appreciate you. I'm going to end this broadcast, and everybody,